This question is really not just about your son. Every person is going to have, when you are doing TP, or even if not, you're going to have situations where your child is in a really bad mood because they feel that something is not working out in their lives. Okay? So in your situation, it is the very important car show, that it's very important that he should have his car ready on time, and he's freaking out because this thing that is so important to him is not going to happen on time.
But it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
Because he sent it today. You see, it's almost painful, almost done. But yesterday it was.
Right? Okay, but he was screaming and yelling and pressured. And for somebody else, it's something else, right? If you notice, our kids are very not able to stay calm, and they can't take any pressure. And when things don't go their way, they actually freak out. And the reason is because if you have a wonderful life and something goes wrong in your life, it's one thing. They are in so much pain over everything that happened bad to them, and a lot of them really went through stuff that is a trauma and abuse that is not supposed to happen. And they feel like on top of everything else that I went through, this too? And you're like, it's just a cup of water. What's the big deal? So imagine that you go over to your husband and you say, can you do me a favor? Can you hold this cup of water for me? He starts yelling and screaming at you. You say, what's the big deal? But imagine if your husband is unloading the minivan after you got back from driving through the night. He's exhausted, and it's raining, and he's not feeling well. And he goes ahead and he's carrying one huge valise in each hand, and underneath he has another valise, and on top of it he has two backpacks, and he's half dead. And you say, hey, can you hold this cup of water for me? And he screams at you. It'll make a lot of sense. Kids in pain, are careful, he has a gun. So kids in pain are carrying already so much baggage that you can't even imagine. And we don't see it, and we forget it. It was a long time ago. It's not. It's enough in their life today. It's enough current events that they're in pain, that they're dysfunctional, that they're hurting, that they're on medication, some of them, that their whole life was changed. So that's how so a lot of times parents say, when I look at my kid, I don't see the pain. Well, look at what they would have been today, right? By now, let's say for the older ones, married with kids. Where's the kids? The kids were murdered. By what? By what happened 15 years ago. The success, the being able to support a family, to be able to work, to be able to learn, to be able to daven, to be able to be frum, to be able to be functioning. Where is all of that? Where is all of that? You put them on track, like your other kids, when they were 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and by 15, 16, 18, they're supposed to be successful on whatever level of success they can be. Where's all the success? So a lot of times we have dysfunctional kids who are not frum, and they're also, many of them on drugs, and many of them are dysfunctional. And we're like, what's the big deal? What's the big deal? What happened to them was so bad. Now think about it for a second, because we have trouble still. We have trouble really, really internally understanding emotional pain and psychological pain and psychiatric pain. We really don't get it. We really don't. If this was physical pain, imagine this kid is, whatever age your kids are, right? We have a 17-year-old kid, a boy, top boy in yeshiva, doing great. Now all of a sudden something happened. They got hit by a truck. They got into a car accident, Rahman al-Litzlan, and the damage is so bad that this kid is dysfunctional. Has headaches, has backaches, can't get up in the morning, sleeps all day, at night is up all night for whatever reason, and is not going to school, is not going to work, and needs drugs for the pain, and has to deal with now being a drug addict or getting out of that once the pain goes away, if it ever does, and dealing with all of that, and can't get married, nobody's going to want to marry him, is not in shidduchim, can't support a family, dysfunctional, disabled. So we would look at that person with physical illness with such mercy, and we would understand that they're carrying so much, and of course they're in a bad mood, because they lost their whole life because of a physical illness, and it will take many years until they could overcome that and then get back to being a happy person and dealing with life with the disability that they have, that Hashem gave them. Right? Now we have to realize that whatever happened to your child was so bad. How bad was it? Bad enough that they're not functioning. Now, most of our kids are dysfunctional. Most of our kids cannot behave like your other kids, something happened to them. There's something there that caused all of this. Something deep down that broke them. And therefore, when you go over and you see that they're struggling with something, you want to help them. And what do? You give them advice. And that doesn't work. Because they don't need advice. They're as smart as you are. Some of them are smarter than you are. Right? You tell them why they shouldn't be upset. It doesn't help. They're in pain. They can't be normal. They're frustrated. Don't tell them why they should not be frustrated. Why? Because it makes them worse. It makes them more frustrated. Because the last thing, if you know how to do something and you can't do it, and someone tells you, oh, you should just do this and that, oh, don't get upset, don't be whatever, it makes you more frustrated. If you realize that they're struggling because they're in pain, they're not taking it out on you. It's not like they want to hurt you. It's not like they want to be bad to you. They want to go ahead and live their life. They're having a personal struggle like this thing, which had nothing to do with you, that I wanted my car to be ready for the car show, and it's not going to be, and he's cursing and he's screaming. You're looking in the window of the room and you see what's happening. You want to walk in and help. Don't give advice. Don't say why you shouldn't be worried. Don't be nervous. They know everything. They have a problem with the nervous system. Someone who has a problem with their nervous system gets more nervous when you tell them not to be nervous, right? Okay. So the first thing to remember is we give them what they need, understanding. If you're always, throughout this whole journey, going to make them feel that you don't understand them, which is what they feel when you try to explain to them why their feelings are not legitimate or why they should do something else, right? Then they're constantly going to feel disconnected from you. Let me explain. The kid is not doing something the right way. The parent usually, even, I'm not talking about those who are not nice, who are nasty, who are cursing, yelling at the kids, pushing them away. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the many parents that came here who are very nice. The parent walks into the room. This is a chinuch moment brought to you by Torah Masorah. Have a child who's doing the wrong thing. For example, they're staying up late at night and they need to go to work tomorrow and they're not going to be able to get up in the morning because it's very hard to get up in the morning when you go out with friends at 12 o'clock at night and you come back at 5 a.m., right? I know how to heal a dysfunctional person. Explain to him, you know, Chaim, if you go to sleep at 5 a.m., it's very hard to wake up at 7 a.m. Now, if you really think that that's going to help, try it. I think most of you tried stuff like that. If you look back, you realize, very interesting, instead of saying, wow, that's genius. How did you figure that out? That's amazing. Nobody ever taught me that. If only in yeshiva somebody would have taught me that. If only when you raised me, Mommy, you would have taught me that the laundry goes in the laundry basket and not on the floor. Oh my gosh. You mean the cup, after I pour the soda, the drink doesn't just stay on the counter. It goes back in the refrigerator and the refrigerator closes. Why didn't anybody ever tell me that? You mean I should go to the family wedding dressed like I'm going to a family wedding? Oh my gosh. Why didn't anybody ever teach me that? That is genius. You are brilliant. Dad, thank you so much. Thanks for telling me what to do. I didn't realize. Or thanks for telling me not to worry or not to have anxiety. Kids, a lot of these kids have anxiety. They're going to a wedding and they're freaking out. I don't know who's going to be there. I don't know what someone's going to attack me or say something or look at me funny, right? We tell them, and we are so good, right? We're professional parents. You know, we all became professional parents by having a child. It made us professionals. We are trained and we know how to deal with this. You go over to him and you say, don't worry. Ta-da! Genius! How many years of school did we go to for that, right? Don't worry. Don't have anxiety. Why are you so nervous? Why can't you just dress normal? Why don't you just follow like what we're doing? Why don't you just go to sleep? Why don't you just relax? Why don't you just forget the Narishkeiten? Why don't you put on a yarmulke? Why don't you dress sneers? Whoa! We've all tried this. By the time you're in this group, you've tried this, you've tried this, you've tried this, you've tried this, you've tried. It doesn't work on this kid. Why? There's a reason. There's a reason. Most likely, because this kid is not a rebellious mechutzif or an unlearned. And if you think about it, almost all, before you came here, almost all of the way that you treated your child was based on your thinking that what the child was doing wrong was due to the fact that they're either bad, lazy, or stupid. I haven't found the fourth category. Ignorant is not really one of them. Bad, lazy, or stupid. So the kid goes ahead and is doing something, and in your mind, they're bad, so we have to do chinuch, we have to punish them. They're lazy, so we have to get them motivated. Why are you lying on the bed like that? We have to get up, we have to go. Why are you not helping out? We have to get them motivated because they're lazy.
What about a fourth category defiance?
Or they're stupid. So, okay, fine, let's talk about that. Or all three, right? Okay? When they are defiant, right, so then why are they defiant? You look at it because they're bad, right? That's a bad midah. Why would you, defiance is bad, is being bad, right? That's a chelik of bad. So either bad, lazy, or stupid. I don't think I have a fourth category. But anyway, that's almost always the way that you look at why this kid is not behaving. Why aren't you doing your homework? Either you're bad, which you're defiant and you don't care, or you're lazy, you'll do it later and you have a midah of laziness, or you're stupid. You don't chop that night is for sleep and day is for up. And so the bottom line is that when we go ahead and respond to them with the thinking that they're bad, lazy, or stupid, so therefore we think we either need to motivate them or push them or remind them or teach them, and that usually makes them worse. Let's go back to your question. In your situation, and it really is negated to everybody, when your child is struggling with something, I'm talking about a kip, I'm talking about once you're here, these are broken children. They're dealing with pain and sicknesses and different diagnoses, and they're not going to respond to your advice based on the fact that they're bad, lazy, or stupid, because they're neither. They're none of those. So when you see them struggling with something, do not give them advice. I know it's hard. I know it's really super, super, super hard. Do not offer advice. I have parents who are dealing with a kid who they tell me the kid is brilliant, and the kid is walking outside without their pants on, and they think that they need to give the kid advice. Anything that you're going to say that they know already, you have to understand, they know it already. The advice doesn't help. Let's get it deeper. They have no chisaron in Havana. They have no chisaron in their heart of understanding. No chisaron in Havana and no chisaron in Yediyah. They're not missing information. They know that outside in the winter, you're going to be warmer if you zip up your sweatshirt. They know that. They understand that no one looks at you when you come to shul and you dress like everybody else. They know that if you work a whole week and you don't take off 3 out of 5 days, that you're going to get a check at the end of the week. There's no chesaron, yediyah, or havana. There's a problem in their nervous system. They are dealing with anxieties, depression, sickness, mental illness, emotional problems, emotional pain, spiritual confusion, whatever it is. But they don't need your information. As parents, we don't know when to let go, because when they're 4, they do need our information, and when they're 8, they need our motivation, and when they're 12, they need a little this and all that, and we keep on. And then I'm amazed how parents don't let go of that. It's like the kid's bankrupt, and you're still like, you really should get a job. I really think it'll be so good for you. Like, that's not going to help. They can't keep the job. Like I always say, parents always say, should we get him a job? Should we get him a job? You can give him the phone number. If he can't dial to get the appointment, then he's not showing up. It means he's not ready for it. Even getting the number, they should be looking on their own. But okay, we're parents, we have to be. I'm especially a helicopter dad, right? That's what they call me. They thought it's a bad thing. I think we should be helicopter dads. I think Hashem is a helicopter dad, if you look into the midrashim and everything. But anyway, so if they can't, right? So we think, okay, so now, what's our tafkid? If our tafkid is going to be to give them advice, here's the problem. Now get with me on this. The child goes through a year, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever the journey is. They're not able to function and do the right thing. If they were, you wouldn't be here. If a patch helped, you wouldn't be here. If Musar helped, you wouldn't be here. If paying them money helped to be good, you would not be here. So what happens is they're going through something that makes them act completely dysfunctional or whatever their situation is, and it lasts a long time. If every time you enter the picture giving them advice, now listen carefully, if your advice is not on the money, why? Because your advice is very good for a functioning person, but not for a dysfunctional person. Your advice is very good for somebody who's asking you, I could do anything, I could do any choice. Tell me, how should I dress? Imagine a guy is coming to your wedding, your family's wedding. He could do anything. There's no trauma, there's no problem. How should I dress? Here's my 5 choices. Bathing suit, tuxedo, he has all the, and you say, this one is the most appropriate. The answer is, thank you, and it's done. No pain. Your kids, when they're asking you, they can't do it. So when you go ahead and say this thing, you're causing them pain. You're doing more than that. You're causing them to feel faleirin. They feel like these people don't understand me. Because when you're offering the obvious advice that they knew, they're not stupid, it's right in front of them. Right? You're offering obvious advice. You're giving them a feeling that I don't understand you, and I don't think that you're capable of understanding this fact. And a lot of times it's complicated. They ask us advice. When they ask you advice, it's super complicated. And you think about the question, how dysfunctional is this question? And when you realize how dysfunctional the question is, don't give the obvious advice, because if they were able to be normal and functioning, they would know that answer. Anything that's obvious, okay, we'll get to that. If they don't know something, there's a chesaron in Yediyah, chesaron in Havana, you could tell them. Right? If they think that they're going to a roof, the bar mitzvah is on the top of a roof that is swimming, and they're bringing a bathing suit, if they really think that, you're allowed to say, by the way, no, it's what's it called? Black tie affair. I have no issue with that. But if they see black tie affair and they're packing their gym clothes, don't tell them black tie affair means bekasha. Isn't that what it means? I don't know what it means. And you don't wear a black tie, right? But it means a suit. Don't tell them the obvious. You're going to shul. At shul, we dress up nicely. He was there. Another thing, anything that he knew at 10 years old, don't remind him at 15 and 20 and 25 and 30. They knew it already. And if you're not sure what they knew, ask any kid in your house. Call up another one of your kids. Say, by the way, do you know where the laundry goes? And with you guys, some of you, when you brought your, I don't always do it, but I do it sometimes, when you bring the family meeting, you bring the other kids, a lot of times I want to show what great parents you are. And I'll go ahead and I'll say, okay, and there's an 8-year-old, a 9-year-old, 7-year-old. I'll say, okay, what's your name? Maishi? Okay, Maishi. Maishi, I have some questions for you. I want you to answer. It's usually like the littlest kid. We did it with you, right? How old was he? 8, right? What was his name? Yassi, right. So I said, Yassi, I have a question for you. Okay. Should you keep Shabbos or should you break Shabbos? Keep Shabbos? And I'm like, yay, round of applause, great chinuch here. And we continue asking questions. And you know what? It's unbelievable. Everything that their sibling forgot, they know. At 8 years old, did he know? He knew all the questions. He knew, where does laundry go? Does it go on the floor or does it go in the laundry basket? And he's like, laundry basket. Yay, laundry basket. Well, it was a tough one. Okay, ready? Yassi? I really do this. It's fun. When do we sleep? At night or at day? Do, 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 do. And tick-tock, he's thinking night. When it's dark or when it's dark? Yay, Yassi knows it. And you think that your 15-year-old forgot what to wear and how to dress? Don't you realize this is a nervous breakdown? Do you think they need to be reminded? And when they don't need to be reminded, there's no chesaron of Havana or Yediyah. There's no problem of bad, lazy, or stupid, which maybe we suffer from, but they don't. And the problem is that they can't do it for different verschiedene Grünzweigen. Grünzweigen. That's the only time I say verschiedene in my house. Okay? They can't do it. And they can't even explain to you. You go ahead and explain. Do you know how many cheshbainis, which we learned about people who are traumatized, many of them suffered from trauma? They have such things in their head, and some of them were, let's say, molested by Uncle Maishi. Sorry, that sounds like a real Uncle Maishi. No. Okay, he would never do that. Okay, so Uncle Chaim, David, Shleima. Okay, and therefore, it comes to his cousin Nussi's bar mitzvah, and he says, I'm not going to the bar mitzvah. And you say, what do you mean? His parents love you. Meanwhile, he's thinking that his uncle Fetter, Elter Fetter, is going to be there, or the Malamed that he had someone's going to be there. Someone's making him uncomfortable. That might be at the wedding, or in shul, or at the bar mitzvah, whatever it is, and they don't tell. So their whole life is a lie. So they say, "No, I'm not in the mood." That's usually, "I'm not in the mood," or "I have no patience." Right? That's a big one. You ever hear that? "I'm not in the mood. I have no patience." And then you say, because you think you're dealing with what you're dealing with. So what do you respond with? You're not going to Nussi's. You grew up together with him. He looks up to you. You're the best friend. His parents bought you a shas by your bar mitzvah. They flew to Eretz Yisrael. How could you not do that? What do you mean? At Hanukkah, they came to you. You're going to answer because you think they're bad, lazy, or stupid. You're not thinking that this is just a fake answer because they can't say, "I'm scared to be there. I have social anxiety," or "I'm scared of someone," or "I don't want Zaidi to give me that look." You know, that look that Zaidi gives me every time he sees me, that he looks like he's about to pass out and he's nauseous and he doesn't want to see your grandfather, right? Okay? And so you're answering, so every time in their journey, which happens many times, it could be hundreds of times, that we comment on their life and we get it wrong, not because we're wrong, we're really right for a healthy person, but we're wrong for them, it gets more ingrained in them. These people don't understand me. They don't understand me. And you know what they do? They go out on the street and everybody understands me. They understand me. So they realize that I'm not part of this machna. This machna, I'm the bad one, and they don't understand me, and they pressure me, and they keep on pushing me, and they keep on telling me night is to sleep, and day is to be up, and then jobs are important, and I should save money. Why do you spend the money? Why do your parents tell you, and you love your kids, and you go to them, and you say, you finally worked, you have $600 saved up, why do you waste it on Narishkeiten? Right? That's the right speech for a healthy child, which probably wouldn't waste it on Narishkeiten, right? But these kids don't need business lessons. So every time that we get it wrong, we put a wall between us and them where they feel, these people don't understand me. They don't get me. And even if you're right once in a while, but you're wrong so many times that you end up building a lot of distance. And then we're pushing them out, even if you did it with a smile. And you know what I'm talking about. Those of you who did this with a smile, you just see them float away. They just stop confiding in you. And then you say, "Oh, Avi, I don't know, my kids don't confide in me." Because when they did speak to you about things that were not that important, they realized, you don't understand me, you don't get me, you don't know where I'm coming from, you don't trust me, you don't believe me, everything's a question. Why? Why can't you this? How come you that? Maybe you should do it this way, you should do it that way. I know it's hard as parents. You have to stop giving advice. Always, forever, for this kid until the chuppah. Don't criticize, for sure not. No advice. So what should you say?
The opposite is also true.
The opposite is also true. What do you mean?
Twisted.
When you become twisted, even if... Oh, well, that's 100% true. Because once
Someone would come to me and ask me to do something. All my friends are telling me that I shouldn't do it because it will be bad for me.
Right.
But should I do
When
it?
they rely on you, when you are twisted, means that you understand them and you show them that, wow, this is a really big problem. It's true for you, it's not a big problem. It's true for all your other kids, it's not a big problem. But for this kid, it is a problem. This broken kid, this is a real problem. And you give them that security. See, people don't chap twisted parenting. Why are you giving and giving and giving and giving? You're giving a TV and you're giving this, you're giving that. You're giving them so much. No. We are creating a safety net for them where they feel that we are tchotchke and giving them everything that they want. But it's not because we're giving them everything they want. We're giving them everything they need. A lot of the things that they a lot of the things that they want, they really need. And it looks like just a want, but when you're broken or you're hurting, you're dysfunctional, you have different needs. And it looks to us like, oh, he's just taking and taking and taking from us. No. They have different needs. Almost everything is not a want. Even the ones that it is a want, give it to them. Why? Because they feel disconnected from you. They have a whole history of pain in their diary from people and from adults. They don't trust us. They say all the rabbis are molesters. This is how they talk. They feel hurt and in pain. So yeah, I'm giving you everything you want. Most of it is what they need. And what's very interesting, within a short period of time, they stop asking. They mamish only want the things that they taka need. And do they have other needs or special needs? Yeah, compared to a regular kid, they went through a hard time. They were thrown out of yeshiva. They have special needs. They have more needs. They have things that they need. You very nice Chassidish people don't have television. They're not religious. So is it a need to have a television? Is it a want? They're spoiled? They have different needs. You want them to be comfortable in your house. You have to give them the needs that they want, which is what we're trying to do. The result is you do this for a couple of years, and then they realize, wow, these people do understand me. They don't keep on second guessing me. We're getting there. They don't second guess me, right? They understand me, and then they'll ask you, all my friends are saying I shouldn't do it, what do you think? My friends are thinking I should do it, what do I think? You have to be very careful to make sure that you always give them the answer that's going to boost their inside and boost your connection to them. Now, when he was complaining about it, he was just saying, ow, 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 I can't deal with this, the car thing. You go in and you say, I see this is so horrible for you. Is there anything I could do for you? What can I do to make your life better? High five, a hug, bring him something to eat, something to drink, something to distract him. But say, you are going through a hard time. Don't delegitimize their pain. Instead, validate it by showing him, because for you it's hard. Somebody breaks their arm and they're trying to lift something and they're going, ow, 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 and you walk over and say, what's the big deal? Just lift it up. For you, it's not a big deal. For them, it's a big deal. Life for kips is hard. It's hard. Regular stress is hard because they can't handle it. You see it. If they could handle it, you wouldn't be here. So it's hard. So for you, it's difficult. So instead of making you feel bad or by giving you advice which makes you feel bad, because these kids are thinking like, oh, you think I couldn't figure that out? Go to sleep at night, wake up in the morning. Like, they get so frustrated from that. You see that, which ruins your relationship, and you accomplish nothing because they don't change and they didn't listen to you, right? Not because they're defiant. Because, it's interesting you say defiance. I have not met one defiant kid. Not one, ever. Yeah. They all present as defiance. And I've worked with kids who, how many hundreds of kids have we had here who were diagnosed as ADD, as ODD, oppositional defiant disorder. But Lamaisa, once you crack through the wall, you do TP, you'll see Shefelach. They're not defiant at all. Yes, they had something that happened to them. They need to be treated differently. When you treat them the way they need to be treated, the defiance just evaporates, and just all of a sudden you have a Shefelach, you have a mushy kid. When they're defiant, they're in pain, they're angry, they're hurting, that's all. When you stop being a part of the pain and you start being part of the solution, when you stop being one of the reasons that make them feel bad about themselves, that they're stupid or lazy or dumb or bad, and you start being on the side that makes them feel good about themselves, things change. Things change. And you know what? You don't need to be so smart and you don't need to have the answer. You just have to close your brain and open your heart. You just have to say, I don't know what to say. I just know I love you. I just see you're struggling. I'm here for you. They didn't ask you to have the answers. You don't have to have the answers. We have kids who say, what public school should I go to? Or what girl should I date? You're allowed to say, you know what? I grew up in Satmar and I really don't know. That's fine. You don't have to have the answer. You do. I'll look it up for you. I'm going to try to make friends. You don't need to have the answers, but you need to be the one who validates them for the struggle that they're going through and says, I will do anything I can for you forever. I am here for you. I wish I knew how to take this pain away from you. I wish I could help you. I really feel your pain. And as long as you're in pain, I'm in pain. It hurts me to see you in pain. It hurts me that you lost your job. It hurts me. Can you believe this job? That this boss, how many kids come home, fired me after 2 days. This guy doesn't know how to treat his employees. Really? He has 8,000 other employees that are perfectly happy. But he doesn't know. Yeah, I couldn't go out and smoke every hour, 4 cigarettes. What? I had to come every day, on time. Of course. It's a crazy thing, right? Crazy. They expect you to come every day. Like crazy, right? Dysfunctional people or people who are having trouble with stress, they can't keep up with it. They just can't do it. The simple life, get up, go to sleep, do this, they can't because they're hurting. Now, the answer is, don't have an answer. Don't criticize and don't give advice and don't think for 1 second that you can solve their problems, because you can't, because you don't know what it's like to be so broken and so much pain. Going off the derech is very, very painful. Forget about the fact that almost all of them had a tremendous amount of pain that caused them to go off the derech. But losing your family and the admiration of your parents and everybody in your life, it's very painful. Nobody's doing it unless there's a reason. And even if, let's say, there's no reason, fine, they're really bad. Look how much pain they have after they do that. They are in pain For two reasons. First of all, because it's pain that pushes them away. Ki yadua. And you know who knows it? They do. A lot of them are very like, don't say every kid who goes off the derech is in pain, but they know. They don't like to say that that's why, but they know that they're in pain. Footsteps knows that they're in pain. They'll talk about it. We know that we have kids that are in pain. But even without the pain, it's very hard. Once a kid goes off the derech, it's hard for them. It's a very tough journey. I feel bad for them. I feel bad if you have this kid that had no pain in his life and he just decided Yiddishkeit is not for me, right? I feel bad for him. It's very hard to go off the derech. It's a big, big price to pay. Even if you're like me and like all you wonderful parents who accept them and love them, it's still hard. And you know what? Not just Yiddishkeit. It's hard to change the way you are from your family. If your family is a motorcycle gang and you decide to become an accountant, everyone in the world says that an accountant is more chashuv than being in a motorcycle gang. It's also schwer. It's also hard. Everyone gets together and shows off their leather jackets, and you come with your calculator and your tax returns. You're just different. You feel different. You come to the family bar mitzvah, and they're all going with their Harleys, and you come up in your Uber. It's different. And everybody's looking at you. Ooh, what are you looking at? They go to. It's hard to be different. Not only that, you know that there's a support group for parents who are not religious, and their kids become religious. It's hard for the kids. It's hard for the parents. It's called pork. Parents of religious kids. It's hard. Yeah, it's really hard. Pork. It's very hard when your kids go on the derech. I'd love to run a support group for those parents. I have to teach them about love and acceptance and enabling and supporting. Buy him the Gemara. Buy him the Gemara. You'll see that you'll create a bond. He'll go back off the derech. I don't know if it works that way, right? It works that way. Love your kids.
I took them to, I know somebody came to Shula, Lubavitch, and his parents took him to psychiatrists. They thought he went crazy.
Right?
They really,
Thought he had a nervous breakdown. He became from. He found God. So the moral of the story is, the bottom line is that you're all going to be faced with these kind of issues. Don't give advice. Give understanding. Right? What was the vart that the Lubavitcher Rebbe said? What did he say? That sometimes what people need is not such a smart mind, but a kind, warm, gentle heart. Give them understanding. Say, wow, I don't know. And look how much easier it is for you parents. You don't have to be thinking about how to solve all of their problems, which they're never going to listen to you anyway, and you can't solve. Just back down. It's very hard because some of us are very smart and we like to problem solve. You're not solving this problem here. You just say, wow, I wish I could help you. I'll tell you one thing. I love you. I'm with you. I have your back. When you figure out what to do, I give you my full support. And you know what? When you boost someone's self-esteem and they feel, Imay anachi b'tzara, I'm not alone. Imay anachi, my mother, Imay with an aleph, right? And Aviv anachi b'tzara, we're with you. That alone is very good. Some of the best things I ever did with the Home Sweet Home Boys was when they told me like their situations, which were sometimes so confusing and so painful, and I really didn't know what to say. And I would just look at them and say, you know, I don't know what to tell you. I'm with you 100%. You're not alone. The message of you're not alone is huge. Huge. You're not alone. We are in this together till the end. And I trust you. And I believe in you. And if you feel in your chess game of life that this is your move, I'm not going to say, well, I think you should do that. It's not my game. I am giving you my backing. I'm validating you because I believe in you. And if this is your move, you have my backing. Whatever you do. When you do that, we don't have kids that we have to call shomrim. You know, we never had a twisted parent family. Call hatzala, shomrim, violence, fighting, arguing, defiance. The kid is angry at you. No, he looks at you. You're my support system. You always are there for me. And they look back years later and they say, wow, how were you there for me when I made all the mistakes? And this is very key. We love to be there for our kids when they're doing well. But when they're struggling and making mistakes, we drop them. But those are the kids that need us even more, in the mistake, with the mistake. Because they're making mistakes because they had a life that we don't understand. They have pain that we don't understand. They had rejection that we don't understand. Many of them had abuse and trauma. Whatever their story is, it's not you. And that's what it means when it says, Al tadin es chavercha ad shetagilim kaimai. Don't judge somebody else until you reach their makom. And the Sfas Emes says, you will never reach somebody else's place because no two people are the same. So stop judging. And part of judging means I'm giving you advice. That means that I understand you and your limitations and what's blocking you, and you could do this. That's what advice means. Advice, you don't go to somebody with broken legs and say, you should get up and walk. That's not advice. Advice means I feel I understand you, and I get you, and you have to do this. And if you're wrong, it means you don't understand me. You don't understand me. It makes the kid feel so verloren. My own parents don't understand my Zerbrochenkeit. This is also why they don't trust adults. This is also why they hate therapists. A lot of them went to therapists, and they had a secret. The ones that were abused, or the ones that were being hurt by their family, by their parents, and they come to the therapist office, and they're there because they're hurting, and the therapist spends 45 minutes with them, and is asking them questions, and a lot of them, they shut down completely. They just shut down totally. They mama shut down. And you ask them years later, I say, why didn't you just tell the therapist? He goes, I'm looking at this guy. There's a thing on his wall, a doctor and a therapist and a this and that. He's looking at me, and you can't figure out what's wrong with me? You need me to tell you? You can't figure out why I'm trembling when my father walks in the room? You can't figure out why when I said I don't want to go to my cousin's bar mitzvah? What? You have no clue? You don't know signs of trauma. When they get older, they can realize. You don't know what PTSD looks like? Idiots. And it's true. They're there and they're saying, come, well, I can't help him if he's not going to talk to me. Really? Really? Open up the conversation and develop a relationship that the kid will open up or realize what you're dealing with. You know how many kids opened up to me? This is really a problem because you can't buy that when you go to school. You can't learn that in school. They don't teach you how to have emotional connections to people in therapy school. There are some therapists that the kids open up to, and then they can do their training. There are other therapists, they may have the same training, and the kids will never open up, or they throw a bone, or they throw a lie, or they just give the guy enough information. You can't learn that. It's a nafshiyistic gift. You have it or you don't. You know, I wish that we can clone this and we can teach that. But in this room right now, how many therapists did your kids see? If you added up all of the people that slipped through their fingers, and the therapist had no idea what was going on in your kid's soul, in your kid's essence, in your kid's emotional being. They just don't know. And it's not their fault. They don't have nevuah. They don't teach that in therapy school. But without that sense, and you see guys on the street, right, that are working with kids. Why are they working with kids? They weren't taught, right? They learn stuff also. Tools are great, but they have the ikar. They can get that kid and put their arm around them, and they can bond, and they can make the kid feel important. They can make the kid feel special. They can make the kid feel, the most important thing, I like you. I believe in you. I actually care about you. And 45-minute therapy session does the opposite. Even if you're the kind that really does care, but when the kid knows, like, okay, 44 minutes, boom, okay, we're done, it gives them the impression they don't care about you. It's very, very hard, and it's not their fault because they're not allowed to even care. It's against the training. It's not good for them. They can't get personally involved. They can't. So it's very hard for them. The mentors on the street. I was just driving Thursday night, 12 o'clock at night. I saw one of the big mentors on the street, Geshmak, a Chassidish guy, and he's out there always. Wherever I go, I see him. So I'm at a chasana on Wednesday. I just, whenever you see Kips, he's there on the street, working the street. He sent a lot of parents to me. He gets it, right? And he goes, he looks for training also. You need the smarts, but you need the heart. And his bond with these kids is based on feeling, on hergish, right? It's based on, I get you. And if I don't get you, I trust you. I believe in you. I like you. I know you're going to be successful. I know I'm going to be at your wedding in a couple of years. I believe in you.
How do you get to these mentors?
You can't get to the mentors. They're out there on the street in different neighborhoods. But those are the ones that really get it, right? Now, I need you parents, because someone asked me, what can parents do? If you have the training of those mentors, and you can be the mentor for your kid, where you have the brain from your training, but really it's the heart. A lot of the training, by the way, I don't know if you noticed, it's to stop thinking. Turn off your brains already. Stop. But how can I do that? Just become dumb, okay? Some of you have a problem. You're very smart over here. Just dumb it up a little bit and just open up and stop judging and stop fixing and stop thinking. Just feel, right? Just feel. I feel for you, right? And if you're the mentor, if you have the skill of those guys, you have access to the kid much more than that guy on the street if he happens to meet him. You want to know how to find the mentor? You're the mentor. Your kid is in your house. You know where he is. The mentors don't have access to him. You do. So you have to learn now. You have no choice how to get to the kid. The first thing is no advice, no brain. Don't use your brain. If you need to use your brain, call me. I'll tell you whether you should or not. Okay, occasionally you have to. But the brain is for a situation that happens, fine. But the relationship is about when you walk into the room, you're kulei hearts. You're all heart. And that's why they love dogs. Right? Kalev is kalev. They don't want your advice. They want you to jump at them and lick their face and be happy to see them. Don't actually lick their face. They don't actually like it. When I tried it, it's not good. That's what happens. What does the dog give you? You know what it gives me? No advice. Unconditional love with no advice. It doesn't tell me how to fix things, doesn't tell me how to think and how to feel. It's happy to see me, and it protects me, and it stands by me. And if somebody's going to threaten me, it's going to bark like crazy. That's what you parents do. Somebody's going to threaten your kid or look at them, you're going to bark like crazy. Don't look at my kid that way. Don't mess with my kid. You have to defend your kids. So you're the mentor, and you're the dog. You're a kalev or a kalba. We're not going to use the English words. Okay? So that's what you have to be for them. And when you have that training, you have access all the time. Let me tell you something, a fact. Your kids know how you feel about them and what you're going to say before you open your mouth. You understand? Comprende? Before you open your mouth, they know he gets me or he doesn't get me. He's for me or he's against me. She likes me or she doesn't like me. And if they feel that you like them, you could tell them much more stuff. If you really don't like them and you're annoyed by them and you're frustrated and you don't understand them, you don't believe in them, you don't believe that they're good, then whatever you say is not going to work because they know, they get the vibe right away. You know, I once sent out a whole schmooze, and it was called Your Vibe. You know what it was? Your vibe is huge. So I sent it out. Your vibe is huge. And Achsid Shai wrote me back, goes, how dare you talk about my wife like that? Your vibe is, your vibe is huge. Your vibe is huge. That's the bottom line, that you have a vibe around you. Some of you have a calm vibe. Some of you have a nervous vibe. Some of you have an anxiety vibe. Some of you, let's get stuff done. You have to go low and slow. Just relax. Calm down. You're entering a situation with somebody who needs you to go with their vibe, and to just relax them. And when they're tense, you have to be even slower. Just be, okay, sure, no problem, I understand. I'm sorry you're going through this. What can I do for you? You shut up and don't tell me what to do. Beep, 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 beep. No problem, I'll come back later. Fine, I'm here for you. And they'll make mistakes and they'll use you as target practice for their guns and their stuff. No, and you say, no problem, tomorrow's another day. It's fine. Yes, we take abuse. But you know how short the process is? Once you're really giving them, then all of a sudden, mamish, in a short time when they believe you, they're not only not going to abuse you, they're going to want to be made after you. They're going to care for you. We have kids who, a few years later, they're giving money to their parents to go on vacation, right? Many of these kids. They have good hearts. You got to just win them over. And you got to know that when they're in a bad mood, even though they're hurting you, or it's nothing to do with you. Your son's meltdown had nothing to do with you. It only had to do with you once you entered the room. And when you entered the room, what are you trying to do? One thing. Give him a hug. If he'll accept it. If he'll accept it. You heard that? A lot of his friends said, can your parents adopt us? Yeah. Yeah, good. That's a good sign, and it's good for him to hear it, and you deserve it for everything that you're doing for him.